Today on Locked On Rockies, another one of the best teams rolls into town, and the Rockies get another win.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 28th day of May in the year 2024. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day is talk Rockies baseball, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show by subscribing, liking the videos, firing off your Rockies hot takes, letting me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. If you want to support the show, that is the best way to do it. You're liking the videos, you're subscribing to the videos, your comments all help support this wonderful show. So if you like the show, really do appreciate your support. And we got great everydayers out there. And here's an interesting one from Dirk Diggler. He says, call me crazy. When Freeland gets back, he should be our closer. I don't think they would do that, but I like the creativity. I think that's an interesting mindset. I think the Rockies still want their starter that they can feel pretty confident in going deepish into games, but I like the creative thinking. I think that is something that might have to be. I don't know if it's that creative, but the bullpen and the closing situation is going to be an issue, and things with it's going to. I don't know if the solution is to move Freeland, but I think the team is showing you that there's a lot more to this team than that beginning of the season. We know how far this team still has to go. We know that, but now when you break it up into the chunks here, you know, of kind of the I know it's the first half of the season, but the first half of the first half of the season, the second half of the first half, I know that's all a whole bunch of a jumbled mess. But the Rockies are playing much better baseball and a much different style of baseball in this in May. And I believe I think they're close to 500 in the month of May. Let's see if I can find that real quick. Record May 2024. Well, let me. I don't have that right exactly. I mean, I could probably get it here. Regardless, I'll do a little more digging, but I just want to point out the fact that if you take off the 2 losses from Mexico City, not just, overall, I mean, that's just, you take it from the over, just eliminate them from the record book, and the Rockies are above 500 at home. They're still abysmal on the road. I mean, if you want to take those 2 losses and add those 2 losses to the, on the road, they're 7-23 on the road. But when we talked at the beginning of the season, and when we talked about the things that the Rockies need to do, making Coors Field your safe haven was the thing. It was at the top of the list. The Rockies weren't great at home last year. The Rockies have been vulnerable at home. You need to continue to make it the place where you feel the most comfortable, and make it when teams come in and struggle. That's a team that was winning. That was the hottest team in baseball that came in to Coors Field yesterday. 9 straight wins for the Cleveland Guardians, and the Rockies went out and jumped all over them there in the 5th inning, and responded as well. With the Rockies, it was kind of doom was looming over the game yesterday, right? I mean, not a lot of Rockies fans will be that excited to hear about that the game was going to be a bullpen game. And sorry, I need to do this because before we go too much further, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. By the way, Game Time app. Download it today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Sorry, I had to get that in there because I literally just thought about it, reminded it. So anyway, the doom looming over the game. I mean, when you're told Austin Gomber's not going to make his start, which, by the way, it was a There was arm soreness. He said if he would have pitched, he would have been at like 85% today. So the team just decided at this point to give him the extra rest and have him be ready for the Dodgers series. So no real extreme concerns there from Austin Gomber. Just some scheduled rest to get him ready to go up against the Dodgers. So you're like, okay, that's unideal. And then the bullpen game comes, and then the bullpen game gets started, and the Rockies are down 3-0 at a certain point there, going into the middle of the second. And then when they respond, cut the lead down to 2. And then the bullpen, backed by a guy that I apologize to Josh Rogers. I wasn't familiar with him actually being up with the team and and his game. But to go out and to go 5 innings, gives up 2 earned, but to get, a couple of strikeouts and only give up 4 hits against a red-hot Cleveland Guardians team that's loaded with talent. Jose Ramirez, man. Jose Ramirez is not talked about enough. That dude is unbelievably special. That guy, man, that's the type of stuff that I would try to do on the ball field, because I was the type of guy that would swing at anything, very aggressive swinger. And the balls that he makes contact with and how hard he makes contact with them just remind me of just when I would do that, and how it goes to show. That's why I love hitting so much. Why I think hitting is so fascinating and so cool is that there's all this science, there's all these things, there's all the stuff that you're supposed to do, right? There's all these steps, and it's a very, it's a process. You got to be methodical, you got to be consistent, you got to do a whole bunch of things right. And then there's people where they do those things, but they have their own unique style, their own unique approach, and their own unique understanding of the strike zone, of the game, of what they're seeing, of what they think they can hit, and what they're confident in hitting. It literally felt like if Jose Ramirez made contact with the ball and it went fair, it was going to be a double. It didn't matter if it was a fastball way out of the zone. It doesn't matter what. That is just such elite hitting. And Goodman mentioned this on the broadcast yesterday too. Another guy that is undervalued in the game of Major League Baseball as a personality and as a star, because I mean it's the entire narrative of the later stage of that game, as the Rockies do have that big inning, but it's the bullpen day. You're not fully 100% confident. Cleveland's able to keep chipping away in that one, including setting up an opportunity for Ramirez in the 9th inning with traffic. Or was it the 9th or the 8th? I can't remember which one it was. I believe it was the 9th inning. But 2 times late with Ramirez, and that just adds so much drama. And he just is so good in any situation. And the broadcast was also saying that the Cleveland was such an elite team in clutch hitting. And when you have that type of guy, I mean, it's hard not to be, when that guy just covers so much area and can just put such good bat to ball at any point. But the Rockies got him in a big situation. The Rockies were able to get the big outs. The Rockies were able to capitalize on the whole game. I was noticing before the big inning there, before the Rockies really broke out, Cleveland did not look comfortable in the field. They definitely seemed to be in a position where they were taking weird routes to the ball. The sun was playing some factor. The depth was an issue. I think the length of the outfield. That's what it's supposed to be for the opposition going into Coors Field. It should be uncomfortable for them to play, and then for the Rockies to be able to fully take advantage of that. And so, props to the bullpen, man. I mean, it wasn't the prettiest game, and obviously the Rockies had to do some fighting back on offense. But after this, the Rockies completely answer back and take the lead in the 4th. The bullpen only gives up 2 runs in 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3 in the next 5 innings. So the damage was all done basically from Cleveland in the first half of that ball game, despite out hitting the Rockies. If you're going to hang on, if you have to have a bullpen day, that's how you hang on. That's how you manage it. And that's a good, solid win for the Colorado Rockies. Like that's a win you look at and you say, Those were the flashes there. That's what's possible. Not all the way, there's and that comes at a day where key contributors for the Rockies struggled outside of the main one, and two guys at the bottom of the lineup. Let's talk about the offense, and let's talk about a vintage day for Charlie Blackmon here coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, time to talk about some of the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Stitch Fix. Listen, folks, I am not the style icon. I know that might be kind of hard to believe, but when it comes to style, well, I am not really all that great. I get intimidated. I don't know what the trends are. I don't really know what I'm looking for. But you know what? Stitch Fix, they got me covered. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist who understands your size, style, and budget. They do all the shopping for you. It's the easiest way to update your wardrobe this season. All you got to do is give your stylist your size, style, and budget preference. They order boxes when you can order boxes when you want and how you want. No subscription required. That's the best. So, you just when you want. You don't have to sign up for a whole thing. You don't have to wait for it all. And you can get what you want when you want. They send 5 just for you pieces, plus outfit recommendations and pro styling advice. Exactly what I need because, you can give me the clothes, but if you don't tell me how to layer them, you don't tell me how to set them up, I'm still going to struggle. You keep what works and you send the rest back. That's all you got to do. Stitch Fix makes it all so easy. They help with the shopping and they save that time and all that effort. Plus, you can get outfits that you never knew would make you feel so good. Style that makes you feel as good as you look. Get started today at stitchfix.com/MLB and get $20 off your first fix. That's stitchfix.com/MLB for $20 off. Stitchfix.com/MLB. Must redeem within 7 days of sign up. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast. We are free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Rockies podcast. Thanking you for making us your first listen of the day. Thank you for subscribing to the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel. Thank you for being part of the show and letting me know what's on your Rockies minds as we continue to navigate through this 2024 season, this confusing, weird, but fun 2024 season. You can get all the play-by-play action for your Colorado Rockies all season long on SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app, by the way, so don't miss out on that. And hey, if you're looking for you're tuning into sports all day, you're watching ESPN, you watch Fox Sports, all that stuff, you can just check out the Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube or the Amazon Fire TV because a little less yelling, and get your fix on a bunch of local teams there as well. All right. So the hero of yesterday's game, the big fella, the big man, the big beard. Here is a tweet from Thomas Harding here. The Rockies' 8-6 victory over the Guardians on Monday was Charlie Blackmon's 15th career game with at least 3 extra base hits, in which he had a home run and 2 doubles, which moved him ahead of Nolan Arenado for second in franchise history behind Todd Helton at 16. And man, it's at a time where I think the Charlie Blackmon re-signing was under some scrutiny and Charlie underperforming. I mean, I think he would be one of the first people to tell you that his standards, his expectations is that this year he's been underwhelming. 237 bat, and this is all after the game yesterday, but overall 237 batting average, 23 RBI with 3 stolen base, an OBP of 312, a slugging of 378, and an OPS of 690. A couple of home runs in that as well. And it is something we have to keep in mind. But it's still a reminder that when he's on and when he's still playing, like Charlie Blackmon still possesses the ability to do that. Like, that's not a fluke that Charlie Blackmon had that game yesterday. if that makes sense. He might not be able to do it as consistently and as frequently, but he's shown that if he's able to get a beat and get a read on the pitching and be able to put himself in a successful spot, he can do damage. He can be very effective. He continues to be someone that does have effective at bats. Now, even striking out a little bit this season, a little bit more than we'd like, at least at the rate that we're used to for Charlie Blackmon. But when you're looking at it, he's got 15 walks to 19 strikeouts this year. So he's almost got that walk and strikeouts at 1-to-1. But games like yesterday are why, like, when we're talking about relying on veterans and veterans getting playing time, that's why Charlie Blackmon is okay getting the starts and not the Jake Cave. I know that Jake Cave's defense is better than Charlie Blackmon's at this stages, but I'm still not confident that Jake Cave gives me as much in the lineup as Charlie Blackmon does. If you're going to have right field be played by a veteran player, it should be someone that you have the abundance of confidence in. And has shown that he still has the ability to do this. Even though the average and things are down, he's still hit for triples this year. He's still hitting for extra base hits. He's got that second home run. It wasn't necessarily a big moonshot yesterday, but that ball was ripped and as a hard liner. And I don't think home runs are necessarily going to be where Charlie thrives this year. If he can keep barreling the ball up and hitting it in for extra base hits, that's all that matters. Because that's the one thing that we're waiting to see is when you compare it to like the Chris Bryant situation. Chris Bryant is walking, he's hitting, and he's getting singles, but where are the doubles? Where is the thump? Where is the oomph? At least with Charlie Blackmon, we still know that he can hit that ball and get moving a little bit. He's still he's got 3 stolen bases on the year, and the Rockies' increased aggression on the base paths means that could increase, especially with his baseball IQ, knowing when the right situations are to go. That's the guy when you're talking about something that can energize the lineup, when you're talking about a guy whose performance as a veteran could inspire the young guys, you saw the shots yesterday of him after Charlie Blackmon making the catch. The entire dugout is up there. I mean, that's Charlie Blackmon is still tracking that ball down and making that play. I know. I mean, it's again. I am not denying the issues we've seen from Charlie Blackmon this year at this stage, but he still shows you that games like yesterday, are still very much in his wheelhouse. Still very much can be an impactful guy. Still can lead off your batting order with a solid at bat. There's a lot to really like still about Charlie Blackmon, and even with the hesitations and issues there, that's the guy I want to see. If you're going to start the vet in right field, it's got to be Charlie Blackmon. I just don't think that. Even with the stuff the small pockets of things from Jake Cave, I still just don't think we've seen enough, and I don't think Jake Cave's career numbers back up enough for the Rockies to show as much confidence in Cave as they have over the past couple of weeks. This is Charlie freaking Blackmon, man. This is Chuck Nasty. You can say what you will, and the numbers will tell their story at the end of the year. But me as a Rockies fan, I'm going to be more confident to see Charlie Blackmon up in those situations. I'm going to be more confident in Charlie Blackmon being the veteran right fielder that's getting the more playing time than I am on the Jake Cave side or some of these veterans. Overall, it's still going to be important for the Rockies to use Blackmon as rotating between DH and right field, and continuing to utilize right field as a spot for young guys. You have to continue to make sure that you're playing 2 young guys a game. I mean, that's a thing that you kind of miss out on. And eventually now Nolan Jones is going to come back and is going to be in left field. So again, you're going to reopen that situation in which you got to make sure that you're getting playing time for the Bouchards and the Hunter Goodmans and the young guys, because that's key. That's critical this year, especially when you look at it. And again, Sean Bouchard, 2 RBI. He has a walk yesterday. The guy is incredible at getting on base. This guy, Sean Bouchard, does no good in AAA right now. He goes down, he crushes it, he comes back up. There are plenty of guys that the minors are the only good thing that's really doing it for them is consistency and keeping them on the field. As much as we explored this day, is Charlie Blackmon going to do this all the time? No. But Charlie Blackmon still can hit for doubles and still hit for power and gives you enough. And honestly, that play reminds you that when it comes to right field, especially at Coors Field, there is no one in baseball with more experience than Charlie Blackmon right now playing that position. So it's really not a bad call to have Charlie Blackmon playing right field, especially when you match up against a team like the Guardians that have won 9 in a row. Rockies don't win that game yesterday if it wasn't for Charlie Blackmon. And it was vintage. Great defense mixed with timely hitting for power, a home run, 2 doubles. I mean, those are game-changing swings, as all of them were. And that Blackmon home run really, really set the momentum for the Rockies and really blew that inning open and solidified the Rockies in a solid spot for it to get that win. So it'll be interesting to see how they continue to navigate right field. But it's at least in games like that, you're reminded that Charlie Blackmon still has that ability, still can swing it, still can do it, still can contribute at an elite level. There's another thing that's been happening lately, not just the fact that the Rockies are playing better baseball, but that the Rockies are doing that. Really, I am floored. I am absolutely so pumped up by. We're going to talk about that coming up next on today's episode of Locked on Rockies. Before we do that, though, I got to tell you about our friends over at Game Time. And Game Time is my spot for tickets. I don't go anywhere else. There's no point in going anywhere else, folks, because Game Time has got you covered all summer long for baseball. Guess what? You need to go. You want to get tickets to today's game or tonight's game, the next 2 games against the Guardians. Maybe you got to wait and see, though. Maybe, right? You're sitting there and you're like, is the meeting going to go? Am I going to get out of the practice? Am I going to get out of kids' practice in time? Well, don't worry. Game Time's got you covered because you can buy tickets right up to when the event starts and a little bit after, and you're going to get a great deal for it. Folks, I just brought up on Twitter the other day of how great of an experience Coors Field is. And if you haven't gone to experience a Coors Field game, well, guess what? You still got 2 chances to do it. And then the next homestand coming up. And the Guardians are the best team, one of the best teams in baseball. So don't miss out. You can get all the details you need when you get your tickets through Game Time. You can click the all-in pricing so you know exactly what you're paying for. Plus, you're going to get pictures of your seat. My favorite feature of Game Time. You know exactly where you're sitting. No surprise poles, no surprise walls, no surprise speakers. They're going to block your view. Take the guesswork out of buying baseball tickets from Major League Baseball with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. That's $20 off your first purchase when you create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB. Terms do apply. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast. We are free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You are in the right spot. All right. I wanted to revisit real quick the record in May. So we're going to do some quick math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. If my math is correct, the Rockies have played 500 baseball in the month of May. 12-12, and that includes stints against some of the better teams. That includes the winning streak. That includes the and now it just goes to show you, man, you flip the script on those 2 tough losses, and not only do you have a sweet winning streak going, but you also are playing above 500 ball this month. I mean, and for the Rockies, 500 ball in a month is good. 500 ball in a month should be a consistent and good goal. especially with the way that this is finishing up. The Rockies now are 1 win away. They have 2 chances here to outduel Cleveland once more and win back-to-back series against arguably the 2 teams that have been the best teams in baseball this year, at least 2 of the best teams in baseball. That's a good improvement. That is something we were not saying a month ago. The hole is still deep to dig out of. The path is still long, but we're seeing so much more from this Rockies team, which is encouraging. And one of the things that's helped leading this way, man, oh man, am I loving the base running aggression. Keep stealing bases all the time. It is so awesome. Now that every time Brenton Doyle gets on base, we sit there and we ask, not if he's going to steal a base, but when. That changes everything. And I love that we're seeing Bouchard. I love that we're seeing everybody get in on the stolen bases. That the being aggressive, that is such it is a sign. That's an adjustment, right? We talked about the Rockies making adjustments and getting back into winning ways and such. That's an adjustment. That is them finally being confident in what they have and the players that they have to go out and steal some bases, man. That it is so great. And it pairs up so well for Brenton Doyle just hitting a single or getting on wall, and Sean Bouchard, like we were talking about his ability to get on base. When you can immediately go and have that threat of, oh, wow, here we go. Here's the Rockies. They got a guy on first. And now, I mean, I don't really know what the actual numbers percentages are, but there's a chance that single can get turned into a double within 2 pitches. I know that's not exactly how it works, but a runner goes to, they get into scoring position and and immediately put the pressure on. It is just, I know there was only the 1 stolen base in the game, but that last, when Brenton Doyle, that in the finale there against Philly, when it was literally just like, boom, he's on base, he's on the move. Boom, he's on base, he's on the move. That's thrilling stuff right there, man. It's entertaining, it's engaging, it's putting the pressure on. It's how you can continue to make those routes happen at Coors Field. It's how you can continue to make those innings get even longer. And I think it's something that can catch the Rockies people off guard. I know the pros prep, right? I know the pros prepare. I know that there's fielding plans. I know that there's game plans for these teams. But I think these last 2, I think the Phillies and I think the Guardians in that first game were caught a little off guard. I think they were caught a little off guard by the fact that when this Rockies team is efficient, when this Rockies team isn't making mistakes, when this Rockies team is setting themselves up for success, they can punch you in the mouth. And they can punch you in the mouth by playing in a complete game of baseball. The starters have been great. The starters have given you chances to win. The offense has been timely. The offense has been patient. The offense has gone up against some elite pitchers and gotten the job done in situations. They haven't. I know that there's still lots of frustrations in the bullpen, especially being shaky. But these type of signs are all headlining the adjustments, And I think when you're looking at why the Rockies are showing that the offense is showing success there, it's because of the of this increased aggression on the base paths, of whatever it is. It's helping build confidence. And I think when you're confident in the base runners that you have on base as an offense, you're confident as a hitter too that you don't have to do as much. Get the ball in play and let Brenton Doyle just rip. Hit the ball into the gaps. And let them fly. I've been loving it. I want the Rockies to continue to be as aggressive as possible stealing bases. I want Tovar stealing bases. I want Nolan Jones stealing bases when he gets back. Brenton Doyle continuing to lead the way. Bouchard stealing bases. Montero is probably not going to, and Chris Bryant probably not going to be stealing a lot of bases, but send Charlie still too. I mean, if he gets the jump, if he gets good to go, it's just such a game changer when those runners are, instead of being on first, are sitting on second. And in Doyle's case, sometimes even sitting on third, because even better when you got a guy like Brenton Doyle that can steal third. So really, really great stuff. We'll see if the Rockies can get a win here and get back-to-back series wins against the best in baseball. Guardians and Rockies facing off tonight at 6:40. First pitch tonight. Tristan McKenzie taking on Ryan Feltner. McKenzie is 2-3 this year with a 3.44 ERA with a whip of 1.34 and 52 innings pitched. He has struck out 45, walked 31, and give up 9 home runs. So there you go, right there. That is a lot of walks given up by McKenzie here. So the Rockies got to continue that disciplined approach at the plate and giving up 9 long balls on the year. So if you can get a couple of walks and punish them with the long ball, that's going to be exactly a great blueprint to victory for the Colorado Rockies. Folks, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We are free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. You can go check out Locked On MLB for your second listen of the day. If you need more Colorado sports coverage, Locked On Broncos, Locked On Avalanche, Locked On Buffs, Locked On Nuggets, they got you covered as well. Folks, until next time, this is Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.